So what if every ability in the game had almost zero cooldown? Well, luckily for us, this week's race tries to answer that. It's called Top 5%, and there's some special new modifiers. Take a look at the bottom left here. We have ability cooldown rate decreased, as well as removal cost increased. The exact numbers are 5% ability cooldown rate and disabled removal costs. So these trees here, you can't get rid of them. Now, for either better or for worse, NK this week disabled a lot of the abilities, so we can't really see how 20x faster of them work, like, let's say, Assassin, Snowstorm, Bullet Pull. Kind of a bummer, but we still have some pretty good towers to work with, like Mortar, Sub, NG, so let's get to it. So these faster cooldown modifiers were already added in the recent update, well, recent as in almost 2 months ago. But this is the first time I'm covering them because I didn't really play any BT challenges, so I never really got to play around the feature. So this is pretty much my first time testing it out. It's also my first time playing a race in a while, so hopefully this ends up alright. So a reminder that with Knowledge, all heroes start with an ability, level 3. So that means you can basically have Adora's or Brickle's double attack speed right off the bat. And we're going to pair Brickle with Boat because Water Tower Synergy. See, we also apply that double attack speed, which is pretty awesome. Hope I didn't send too many rounds out. I think this is alright though. We have 150 to work with. Rape Shot soon. There we go. Let's go to 17. Okay, this is probably a really risky start. I think I'll slow down a bit. This is pretty much my first attempt. So I don't think we want to end off on being too aggressive here. In fact, it's probably better to start with a bad time so that you get a better feeling of progression. So there's Cannon Ship. Let's just slowly send to, let's say, 27. And let's work on a reactor next. I want a 420. Let's go to, say, 33. Save up 2,500. Or alternatively, I could sell the boat, but since this is my first run, I think I'll just rather play it safe. So this will be a pretty slow time, again. But better than nothing. Or better than losing, straight up. So 39. And I think we should start doing 032 spam. 032 spam. Ballistic Missile is already good. Now imagine if you give double attack speed. Let's send them up too. 45. 032. And then another 032. Miner, gotta keep spamming the ability. Ooh, and I sent that mob way too early. Well, so much for playing safe. Let's try a different start actually. So I'll put the boat more in front, put Prickle at the back, so that I have the better towers doing more damage initially. Go to round 12. Cannon Ship, and then continue as usual. Alright, round 45, let's go. So we got 2 ballistics here, round 45. Let's make it 3. Should be enough to beat this mob here. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. I think we should spam some more. Let's get 4 of them up. 4 sounds like a good number to stop at. We'll also outbuff them too. And I think we'll also add, what do you call it? An Ice Shards. Ice Shards is great with Reactor and subs in general. Let's get Jungle Drums in all of them too. Let's get a Recursive Cluster to help proc that Ice Shards. How about another Ice Shards too? And another tower I really want to try out, even if it may not be the better option, is the low cooldown Artillery Battery. So let's get a 240 up right now. And we'll full send. How about it? Well, now. Go all the way 78. And I can just have 4x attack speed at all times on this guy. And hopefully, that should be enough to defend the all-in here. Come on. Megamind. Another artillery. We got double artillery working its rear end off right now. And I think that's good. Yes, sirree. Now let's try another low cooldown tower. How about an infinite rocket storm? There's a lot to keep track of at once. But let's see if we can do it. Looks like we're safe now. So all that really matters is affording what we need to, well, beat the rest. Now for ZMGs, definitely you want a low cooldown first strike. Absolutely. Let's first get a couple of merchantmen to make some money. 1, 2. Major spam. You know, tech bots would have been really nice right now. Like, quality of life for Brickle here. Because, frankly, spamming the hell out of, what do you call it? The Brickle ability is annoying. Because you can't tell when it's gonna run out. Or there's no timer to tell you how much you have left. Because you just have to keep spamming the ability. And there's our low cooldown first strike. We'll just spam it off cooldown. Let's get a couple 302s. And as I mentioned, this is going to be a bad time because I was mostly experimenting without having any set strategy in place. Well, I just really showing you the crazy kind of things you can do with this race. And there's a pretty bad time of 340. Now, as you can see, that is still a top 100 time, but it's still very early on in the race. So in my eyes, that's pretty subpar. Now, I regret to inform you that unfortunately in this race, it seems like the best strategy isn't requiring you to use those, synergizing towers with the cooldowns. You might think ballistic missiles with Brickle's permanent boost is amazing, but there is a tower called the Recursive that is even better, even without any cooldown buffs. The thing is with races, Pierce is always king, and with the recent bomb buff, so it always pops black balloons with the bond path, it's pretty much like the best thing in the race you could possibly ask for. Now combine that with Ice Shards, which gives you another massive boost in balloon popping, and you get yourselves a strategy that's better than a permanent Brickle plus water tower combo. Alright, so here's where the strategy deviates. Instead of going for a reactor next, we can go straight for a cluster bomb. This defends a crap ton of balloons way more than anything else really for this cheap. And we can go to 39 because of that. Now for the mob, we don't want to send it out yet because we can't beat it. I think for that, we want to get a Recursive and an out buff. And maybe even Ice Shards too. So let's get all that good stuff set up. Ice Shards here, Ice Shards here. Let's send the mob about now. We'll go to 49 because why not? Let's get the 300 out buff. And then sell it for 1 Ice Shards and a second Ice Shards. And holy crap, I thought we died there. Luckily we didn't. So we live to see another day, good. Let's go to 55 now. We're a little bit ahead of pace, but I think I'm still saying too slowly, so we'll go to 60. How's that sound for us? How's that looking? I'll even go for Reactor 2, just for the camel balloons to pop them faster. And we're about ready to full send, very soon. I got 3 out buff Recursives, let's get a 4th one, and let's full send now. So this means 78, that is the longest round. And if we don't beat this, then I'll be very, very surprised. And we got a big mine here. And I think we survived all of it. Let's see. Got another big mine. Let's go for the infinite Hydra rocket. Yes. That'll help us to survive the full send. And you see that the bombs are still better than the sub strategy. Now, obviously, that was my first run, so it was clearly highly unoptimized, but still. I do believe that the better strategy is the bomb. Because I actually did run a couple of tests before this, and it turns out that, like, compared to even stuff like a mortar with constant 4x attack speed, it still cannot compare to the power of Recursive. Pretty crazy if you ask me. Now to end this all off, you know the drill. Just spam the first strike for the mobs that come in. We'll get the 302 snipers to insta-kill the last balloon. And now we just wait. Should be about a 330 or lower than that. Yeah, 325. Better, but still not very ideal. And now for a time that's even more ideal. And yes, heavy on the bomb shooters. I am switching over to post-commentary mode for this because frankly, it's pretty hard to live commentate when you have to focus on 10 billion little things at once. And again, this race is harder than usual to fully focus on because you have to keep track of your Brickle ability while also building towers and sending rounds at the same time. The thing is, you basically can't let Brickle have any downtime, otherwise you're gonna leak a crap ton of lives. And this wouldn't be a problem if you're able to refresh the ability while it's still active, but the thing is, you can't refresh it until it actually times out, which I believe is around 9 seconds or so. So essentially, either you gotta spam the one hotkey the entire game, or you gotta keep track of how long 9 seconds is. But yeah, tough, but luckily I was still able to survive, and here's how the strategy went. We're pretty much building the same towers as the last run, but we're just building it more optimally and setting the rounds way faster. In this run, I'm able to full send almost like 25 seconds faster than the previous. That's how unoptimized my day 1 times were. This run was played the day after. But yeah, I still find it crazy that not having cooldowns on abilities is still worse than plain recursive spam. That just goes to show you how absolutely insane these guys are in the race. I think it would have been interesting to see what the top strategy would have been if Recursives were banned here, and maybe Ice Shards too. I bet it probably would have been a mix of either Rocket Storm, Artillery Battery, or Airburst Spam, with Brickle and Ballistics. So just like last run, once you're done full sending, you're pretty much safe. I get up the usual Infinite Rocket Storm and the First Strike, and that helps clean up the final BFBs that spawn. Ending time, much better than the previous run at sub 3 minutes. Pretty good, but we can go even lower, and here is the best run I had. So it's still the same Brickle and Boat start, but this time we don't go Cannon Ship. We will skip the Cannon Ship and just build straight into a Cluster Bomb. Because frankly, the other run didn't have enough bombs. Yes, you heard me right. With over half our defense being bombs, that still was too little. This is going to be an almost full bomb run. Partial credits to Toby439 on YouTube for this race start. A lot of people probably wonder how I create strategies for races, and most of the time the answer to that is I heavily base it off of existing strategies. Thing is, a lot of times it's easier just to take a good strategy and then build on it to improve rather than just starting from scratch. That, and it's also a lot more time consuming, trying to figure out everything from scratch, going from the round ends to the round timings. So the best advice I really have if you want to improve at this race mode is follow the existing race guides on YouTube and figure out why they do what they do. And eventually you'll be able to apply that race knowledge to be able to come up with your own thing. And my own thing for this run is, well, just more Recursives. So you see, I stopped at a 210 boat earlier, but now I'm going to upgrade that one to a 230 just to defend the mob insides. I'm going to outbuff it as well to make the attacks more powerful. And here's something different. We're going to go for a village instead of a reactor for cam protection. Because the thing is, the reactor is pretty far back in the track. And so the village helps with that. It also helps give, attack speed with the jungle drums. So even more of a reason to build it. I didn't really see any reason to upgrade the primary training because these guys already have a crap ton of Pierce. And yeah, primary training doesn't really help with that. We just have one out buff for each Recursive. Full send much faster, much earlier than the other run. I believe around 7.5 seconds faster. And yeah. 5 of them outbuffed will be able to defend 78 rounds at once. The Megamind also is coming in clutch just to deal with mob damage because the biggest weakness is the mob damage with these Recursives. But yeah, as usual, once you survive the full send, it's pretty simple. Just get the Infinite Rocket Storm to clean up, as well as a First Strike and Merchantman for money, and you're golden. So overall, despite the lack of overall ability prowess in this fast run here, I still somewhat enjoyed this week's race. Enough to make a video on it at least. I know it's been a long time since the last one. But hopefully next time there's a race with some crazy stats, we can hopefully see it have a big factor in the strategy of the race. Anyways, any time for this run, a high at 251. Where does that place us on the leaderboard? Well, can't tell. It says no data found. Luckily, I was able to back out to the main menu and then jump back in, and the leaderboard finally loaded. Puts us in 20th place with a day left, which is pretty much safe for a top 50. So GG's, and thank you all for watching. For more BTD6 content, make sure to subscribe and turn on those notifs to see when I upload. And I will see you guys in the next one.